Hey guys, in this video we're going to do something off the beaten path for the channel. Today we're doing a dirt bike. Now the thing is, this is a really old machine. This is a Ricky Carmichael dirt bike from Radio Shack, and the technology is really old. I mean, it's got old school electronics in it. The battery box lid is missing, and my friend doesn't have the transmitter for it. So if we are going to get this working, we'll have to update it to today's technology. We haven't dug into this thing yet. It's still dirty. There's dust and debris all over it. We just got it on the bench. So we're going to pull it apart, see what's involved, and if possible, we're going to put new electronics in it to see what it can do. Check this out. All right, so let's have a look at this thing. The rear suspension works. The forks work. That's pretty cool. The driver moves. Let's see how we're going to get into this. Now it looks like we've got a hood pin right here, so let's pull this. Nice. Okay. Let's see if that's all there is to it. Nope, seems to swivel right there. All right, anything else? Nope, seems to be free now. See if we can wiggle it out from under the driver. Come on. There we go. Nice. Beautiful. Let's untie the antenna here. Good. See if we can't get that driver off. It's one arm. It looks to me like we're gonna have to pull these skid bars to get the driver off. It goes through the bottom of the foot hoop there, so there we go. Let's leave that where it's at for now and have a look at the other side. Pull that one off. There you go. And we'll loosen this skid bar as well. Now this is actually pretty cool. I wasn't expecting this out of a Radio Shack kit, but it's looking pretty neat. I mean, that's a full-size Ken and Barbie sized doll there. That's pretty big, and the detail in it's pretty amazing. So let's go ahead and get these side covers off, and we'll back out the screws, and we're going to speed this up best we can for you guys so this doesn't take forever. Here we go. Nice. Okay. Get it over that one unit there. There we go. Sure that's tight. Let's have a look down inside. The electronics fill up the entire inside of this thing. I don't know why I wasn't expecting to see that, but loosen up this other side panel. There we go. Now let's take a look in the radio box. So let's go ahead. There's two screws here. We'll back those off and have a look inside. Yep, that's what I figured. Just a circuit board. Okay, get that thing detached and get that thing out of the bike itself. So that's the radio. There's the cover to the box. Now let's go after the servo horn here, so we'll back out the set screw that holds it. There we go, get the screw out. And pop that servo horn off. Beautiful. Now we're going to have to go through this side to get inside of this thing to get the rest of the electronics and whatnot out. So let's go ahead and back all of these screws and nuts and stuff off. And we want to remove this side plate. Go. There's quite a few nuts and bolts holding this together, but this truly is the frame to the bike. There we go. Got to get these 3 along the bottom now. There we go. Now it slide right off. Now we've got access to all the internals. We can have a good look at this. We want to go ahead and remove the wires from the motor. So we plan to leave the motor in it. We will test it before we do full reassembly, but we want to leave the motor in it if we can. And let's go ahead and get what's left of the battery box out of the way. We do plan to use this. We test fit a 2S battery and it does fit in there. We're just going to have to figure out a way to secure it. There we go. So there's 3 along the side here. The battery tray comes right out. That gives us access to the speed control and the servo controller up front. Go ahead and wheedle that out. Now we're going to have to go after the servo, and it appears to be clamped in between these 2 rails. There we go. Let's go ahead and back it off. We're going to have to remove the handlebar assembly and the forks. So let's take that. This is the mount for the screw on the top of the fuel tank that holds the front of the body in place. So we want to keep that all in one unit. And we'll do the same thing for the secondary that goes through the forks, and we'll put that screw over there with it as well so we know which ones go where. There you go. Keep those components separate. And now we should be able to work that servo out. There we go. Not bad. There we go. So this is the radio gear that came out of the bike itself. Look at the size of that. It's amazing how much space that took up inside the bike. All right, guys, there's the teardown process, and everything is pulled apart. We've got all the radio gear out, and take a look at the size. Everything on there, that's the radio gear. The servo, it's got the servo control mechanism and the speed control unit and the radio, and there are 4 AA batteries that sat in there for probably well over a decade and just rotted away all the metal in there. So this is unusable, which is unfortunate because I'd like to see how it works, and one day we may go ahead and power this up just to see what we can get done with it. But at the same time, it's antiquated stuff by today's standards compared to what we could put in it now and what we could do here. And we haven't really decided how we're going to go about it, but we do have a speed control that'll fit in there, and this is an ARMA speed control. It's left over from one of the other systems that we swapped out, and there's the servo that went with it, and we've got a servo horn that will serve. So those 2 will work pretty good, we think. We're going to go ahead and try and get those mounted. And of course, this isn't my favorite radio, but for this application it should work just fine. And this is the STX2 with the receiver right there, and it's small enough. We test fit it real quick, and it will fit in the box quite nicely. So as far as trying not to spend any money on this, we should be able to get it going with all of the parts that we just have left over from upgrading some of the other rigs in here. So the one difference that we have is, if you take a look at the main chassis, it has 2 blades, and you see the blades there? It has 2 blades that stand upright, and the forks mount right here. Inside of these blades, it just sandwiches the servo, and that's what holds it in place. It's just cranked down and sandwiched in. It doesn't really have a mounting plate. It's just squeezed between these 2 plates. Now the problem is, the old servo was a fairly big unit because in those days, that was pretty high tech. Now, by today's standards, you get a lot more power out of a smaller package. So we're going to have to build a mounting bracket for that to get that to sit in place. Where the 4 AA batteries sat, we're going to go ahead and modify that box so we can get the speed control in there. The radio will still fit into the radio box, and the cover should go on to protect it, which will put the antenna whip right where it should be. So we should be able to go ahead and get this thing back up and running. Now, the thing about this is we have to go through our cleaning phase, and we're going to skip that part here. It's just a matter of wiping it down and getting everything cleaned up. Then we'll get into the manufacture process where we can build all the attachments to make things work, modify the box and so forth. Then we'll get into assembly. That being said, guys, this is video 1 of 3 in the series for this Ricky Carmichael Honda 250R. And, you know, we were really kind of not sure what we were going to find when we tore into the thing. You know, it's kind of a cool, you know, they say it's 5th scale, quarter scale, something along those lines. Anyway, for its size, it's pretty big. And once we got it tore apart, we found that it is possible to do modifications and upgrades, which is really exciting. But there is a downside. And the downside is this. These are weighted wheels and tires, and when they spin, they give that gyroscopic action that keeps the motorcycle up straight. Problem is, let's see if I can find it here. There we go. It's a solid rim, and the tires are loose on there. Now, yes, we can glue those down, and we may actually do that, but with a certain amount of speed for these things, they could grow, come off the rims, destroy the tires, and then these things it'd be really hard to find replacements. Yes, you could, but they'd probably be really expensive, and they'd be just as old as the ones that are on it. This video isn't actually about checking the performance of the vehicle, seeing how fast we can make it and all that stuff. The idea is to restore this and make it functional once again. Now, I'm really excited to get the new equipment in there because the new digital radio, the speed control, all that cool stuff should give it a little more reliability and range, which should be pretty cool. Add to that, our next video in the series is going to actually be modification and build of this bike, which I'm really looking forward to. It should be a lot of fun to do. This is a part of the hobby that really cranks me up good. Making things work from something that doesn't is always exciting for me, and the guys around here are just as excited as I am to see how this thing runs out. Keep in mind that in video 3, we're going to get to see how it runs and how well things work and whether or not all this effort was worth it. Hey guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. It's awesome when you do, and we really appreciate it around here too. It lets us know if we're heading in the right direction or not with the channel. But this, I think, is something that is overlooked a lot within the hobby. You know, yes, it's cool to get the new stuff out of the box and check it out and see how fast it goes and how tough it is and where it stacks up and what else is new out there. But still, this is a piece of RC history, and it excites me to be able to go ahead and restore this for a friend. And I know restore is a tough word. We are going to get it back up and running, and that's part of the restoration deal, but we're also bringing it up to date with the newer technology. It's got to have a higher end servo in it. It's going to have, and keep in mind, this is stock stuff that comes out of the ARMA cars that we're putting in it. That you could go way beyond that, but at the same time, we are bringing it up to today's technology. If you guys have done something like this or restored a car that you think is really cool, please feel free to leave it in the comments down below and share with others so they can get all excited about possibly doing something similar. So hey guys, this is AJ with AJ Jam Studios saying, keep wrenching guys.